now to answer your legal questions. You can call us now, the number 256-536-0077. Michael Timberlake with our friends at Timberlake League and Brooks now joining us this morning. And we've got kind of an interesting topic because we're talking about documenting evidence after a wreck while we wait for callers to come in. Tell us a little bit more about this. This is something that unfortunately a lot of people are faced with.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like, 565 pretty much every day. There's something going on. And so we want to, give you some basic information about what you need to do if you're involved in a wreck. First thing is obviously call first responders to make sure that, you can have medical attention on the scene for people that need it. And the police officers can be there to assist with traffic control and try to do an investigation to figure out exactly what happened. But medical care is primary, so make sure that anybody that's hurt gets the attention that they need. In terms of what you need to do in terms of to document what happened, everybody's got a camera these days, so that's beneficial to get that information. Take multiple pictures of vehicles, positions of vehicles. We've been able to use that kind of information in many cases to help document what happened. The next thing you need to know is that if there are witnesses out there, please get their information. The police officers do their best to get witnesses, but they don't always get that information, and it's not necessarily their job to determine who is at fault or what happened in a situation. So if you are able to, if there are witnesses, get names, contact informations of those people so that you can contact them at a later date.
Is there also pictures of both vehicles?
Sure.
If it involves two or all three or whatever it is.
Right. Yeah, I mean, you got unlimited pictures now on a phone, so take pictures of the other car, of your car, any situation that you think contributed to the incident. The other thing that people ask us about are the electronic data recorders, the EDRs, and most vehicles have that information these days. So that information is something that you would like to have after an incident. If it is a serious injury, fatality, or death, then the Alabama Law Enforcement Agency officers will typically impound the vehicles, and then they will get that information. They hook up a device to the vehicle, and that will tell you, basically the time of the impact, the speed at the impact, the reaction of the vehicle, were the brakes on at impact, all kinds of interesting or critical information about what was going on in the vehicle at the time, and that can be used to establish, what exactly happened.
So if someone else arrives on the scene, a spouse or whatnot, a son, a daughter to help
Sure.
post-accident, are their pictures okay as well? Like if
Yeah,
they
I
take
mean,
pictures?
and as long as the picture fairly and accurately depicts the scene of the wreck, then those would be able to be used in court regardless of who took them.
Okay.
It used to be like with a lot of video evidence, and sometimes with surveillance cameras and things like that, there's some technical issues that you have to go through. But in general, as long as there was a witness, somebody saw what the video recording or the picture recording depicts, then that information would be admissible into court.
And I assume pretty often, people are very upset, understandably so, post-accidents, like some of the basics get forgotten.
Right, and that's what I'm saying is it's everybody's it's a emotional or it's a anxious situation, so that people need to make sure that they if somebody says, hey, I was a witness, make sure that you can get that documented information.
Okay.
Don't necessarily rely on the police officers to do that, because sometimes they may not get it. Sometimes there may be some information that comes up later that we need to go back and contact those people. And so that's the kind of things we tell everybody. Evidence after an incident is like water. It evaporates, as soon as the sun comes out. So if you're involved in the situation, you want to make sure that you document that information that you can. And if there's a question about who was at fault or what exactly happened, you need to contact somebody immediately as soon as possible to find out what you can about the incident. The at-fault party may contact their insurance. Trucking companies have lawyers that will come out to most every scene.
All right. Well, if we didn't get the information, you guys have the blog as well. Remember, you can always call our friends over at Timberlake League in Brooks for more information. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.